Welcome back. Now we've seen how this course is structured. Let's start with the most basic question. What is the workflow in Dify? Before we talk about any nodes or any specific examples, we need to understand this idea first. In simple terms, a workflow is a structured process. Instead of the system responding once and then stop, a workflow defines what happens step by step. So you can think of it as a checklist or a small production line. And something comes in, and something happens in the middle, and then something comes out. To understand why workflows are important, let's compare them to a normal chat. In a normal chat, you ask a question, and you get an answer. That's it. However, a workflow is different. With a workflow, you decide where the input comes from, what happens in the middle, and how the result is returned. This means the system is no longer reacting randomly. It is following a defined process. In Dify, a workflow looks something like this. So don't worry if this feels unfamiliar. We will break this down step by step in the next lessons. Dify workflows exist because real applications are rarely just one questions and one answers. In real use cases, you often need to collect information, process that information, and then make decisions, and finally generate a result. A workflow allows you to control this process. It lets you decide not just what the AI says, but how the system behaves. So, workflows turns AI from a simple chat tool into a system. You don't need to understand all of this in detail right now. In this course, we will build this understanding step by step. We will start with very simple workflow nodes and gradually move to more complex ones, always using these small examples. So, in this lesson, the key idea is simple. A workflow in Dify is a way to define how things happen, in what order, and for what purpose. Everything we learn later, every node, and every example will build on this idea. In the next lesson, we will look at the first concrete part of a workflow, the user input node. This is where data enters the workflow and where everything begins. I will see you in the next video.